Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. Um, my name is Paul Kim, and I'm one of the international admission counselors at Loyola Marymount University. And I am joined by one of our graduate students, who's also an international student, Chris. Um, and today, this evening, we'll just have a short, Q&A session about campus life and what it's like to be an international student at LMU, kind of like an AMA, ask me anything. And Chris, our star here, will be the one answering all of your guys' questions. And so if you do have questions that you want to ask, do unmute yourself and ask those questions, or you can also put the questions in the chat as well, and I'll be just moderating this session today. And so we can begin by Chris, if you just want to introduce yourself first, that'll be great.
Sure. Thank you, Paul. And I'll definitely do my best to answer all of you guys' questions. And yeah, good evening, good morning, or middle of the day from my side, wherever you might be in the world right now. So I'm Chris, as Paul already said. I'm a graduate student here at LMU. I'm doing a double program in systems engineering and MBA, so business administration. And it's my third and final year here at Loyola Marymount and in Los Angeles. And yeah, I'm originally from Germany. I did my undergraduate degree back home in Germany. So I just came to the States for my graduate degree. And I like it really much. And I take a lot out of it. And I'm excited to what's come after I finish my degree. And yeah, I'm happy to answer all of you guys' questions, whether it's about any program like that I am in, about student life, about Los Angeles in general. So just feel free to ask me anything you want from like a student perspective.
So like one question that I feel like comes up quite often is, and for many students as well, why did you end up picking LMU specifically for your graduate studies? I'm sure you're, as the stellar student you are, there are a lot of other options that you had, but why LMU specifically did you pick?
So for me personally, it was essentially like a great fit from like three different perspectives. So I'm also a student athlete here for LMU, competing in the cross country track and field, but it's just on a side track. So this was a pretty good fit. So like the team was interested in having me. And secondly, I really like the program, especially like the double program I'm in. It just was a great addition to my undergraduate degree, and I really like the curriculums, and I was able to talk to some of the faculty before I actually committed to LMU, so I had a good feeling for what it's going to be like, what it's going to look like. And third, it's California, Los Angeles, and coming from Germany, where right now it's heading into the winter season, which is not super pleasant. I just like being here. It's a beautiful place to be. So like it's kind of like the three parts that played into my decision.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the questions that I'm getting in the chat is also about like specifically your professors. Like, how have they been throughout your the courses that you've taken at LMU?
Oh, they've been great. I mean, of course, there's some better ones. There's some ones I don't really get along too much, but I guess that's just how it is. But generally speaking, and I mean, I have the comparison from my undergraduate degree back home. I feel like so first of all, the professors here have a lot of experience also outside of like a classroom perspective, especially in my program, the systems engineering and MBA. A lot of the faculty has been in high rank positions in the industries, whether it is aerospace or it's like some business executive for the MBA program. And you definitely feel that. So they have a lot of like inside information, always have a nice story, like a kind of fun story on hand to share with the students. For example, one of my professors that I have actually right now this semester, she's been in the marketing department for Apple like 10 years ago. And later on, she was in the marketing department for, I think it was Ubisoft, that does like Modern Warfare, like the ego shooter game, like completely random. And it's just like the things that I really enjoy. And most of them are super approachable too. So they actually enjoy sharing a lot from like their experience and give it back to students. And that's literally all over the professors I had so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think from both the undergraduate side and graduate side, there's some amazing professors that are fully engaged with their students while also providing opportunities outside of the classroom as well. um, we have a question about, um, I guess, just your campus experience. Like, what is the community like, and how has that impacted, your overall experience at LMU?
Oh, so the LMU campus is compared to like other big US schools rather compact, which makes it way more walkable. And besides that, you guys might have been here before, or might have looked through the website, and like it's not just like a collection of the best pictures. Like campus is actually that beautiful. So it's like beautifully located. There's a lot of green spaces around, and it's just enjoyable. For example, to like if you have a break in between classes, to be somewhere in the sun and relax. And in general, it's super communicative. So as a graduate student, you're not, I mean, it's a little bit different than an undergrad student living on campus, but there's still so much opportunity. There's always like some sort of festival thing going on. Like just this Wednesday, there's a like a fair going on over noon called Wellness Wednesday, where there's some like local vendors that sell food and stuff like this. And there's always an event going on, and it's pretty engaging.
Yeah, I think Wellness Wednesday is definitely my favorite things. There's a great food that's out there. It's nice to see, kids having fun. Yeah, it's definitely a great campus to be in, and the community is really awesome as well. Uh, don't forget, if you have questions, feel free to put in the chat. Um, are you part of any organization or I guess like clubs or stuff other than sports on campus, or are you is there a job that you're doing? Could you just elaborate on some of that?
Yes, sure. So unfortunately, I'm not in any club right now, just because I have so much on my like daily schedule for like athletics and also for my class schedule. But there's a lot of clubs. Literally any sport you can imagine, there's a club for it. So we actually have a really decent ice hockey team that's not competing in the NCAA, but it's just like as a hobby. We have a fitness center on campus that actually offers classes, whether it is yoga or some sort of CrossFit classes. But there's all sorts of different clubs. So some of my mates or like classmates from the MBA program, they are in some sort of real estate society type of thing. So there are panels, they're meeting every week discussing about topics. And also every college has their own panel. So if you're like super involved in whatever program you're interested in, you can join that panel and be some sort of like a representative for that program, and kind of like work together with the faculty and the leaders of that specific department to like give something back for students. For example, the MBA program always hosts like super cool events, like at cool places. For example, down in the marina where all the yachts are just staying, they sometimes invite us just on a Saturday, and everyone gets a free drink, and it's a nice get together.
Awesome.
Oh,
Is there something else you want to share, or?
yeah, I forgot about the job thing. So I'm also working here on campus as a side job as a graduate assistant in the office for international admission, which is really cool. First of all, you get a little bit of money in, just like doing something productive with your time. And second of all, I learned a lot about how the admission process works, and I get to meet a lot of nice people all over the world, just like you guys. And there's plenty of opportunities to get a assistant job on campus in all directions, whether it is like in a specific department. So you can be a lab assistant for the science and engineering, for example, or you can just do like a regular assistant job. There's plenty of opportunity to also get some work in while progressing in a degree.
Yeah. I mean, I've firsthand experience, your help in our office, Chris. And do you want to share about how, these opportunities have actually allowed you to explore options outside of LMU, and hence your capstone that led to an internship?
Oh yeah. Just recently, it's quite a fun story. So in our office, it's me and Luciana, who's also in my MBA program, and we just like happened to meet in the program, but also for a graduate assistant position here at the international admissions office, and we became good friends. And luckily, her husband is working for a pretty nice automotive company. And so next year, I have to do my capstone project for my systems engineering degree. And just because I was meeting Lou in the office and kind of like spoke to her husband and all of that, so he connected me to that company, and now I'm ending up doing my capstone project together with them and have a really nice internship opportunity just regarding this. And this is actually something that happens quite often in some sense. So there's always like opportunity to meet some new people, to get some exposure for the I would say like real world outside of campus as well. Whether it is through students you meet on campus, especially for graduate programs, a lot of the students that are here are already working or have some experience in the industries and can help you out and give you some more insight. Or also, LMU has a pretty good career development department, which help you out in any sense you want. So whether it is just basically exploring what interests you have and like heading into a career, or going down to like really detailed work, looking at your resume and making it ready for like a particular job, or even prepare you for a particular job interview. So yes, there's lots of opportunities to find some employment while studying or after studying. And I think that's another great key asset that LMU has, because I haven't had that experience back home in my undergrad. Like we were all by ourselves, like we had to deal with our applications and stuff all by ourselves. And here you have like open doors to find everything you want.
Yeah, that's awesome. Since we're talking about, career and professional development and your internship and your capstone project next year, could you talk a little bit about how the program that you're in helped you develop professionally at LMU, and how have your professors helped you, gain professional skills as well?
Yeah, definitely. So the program I'm in, the MBA program and the systems engineering program, they are actually really close to like the industry. So it's not just, so my undergrad back home, I did mechanical engineering in my undergraduate degree. So there was a lot of like traditional lecturing. There was just a professor reading down his slides or doing some calculations, and there was like 300 people sitting in a room just like writing things down, or even or not. And I feel like everything you do here, from my experience on, is really something that you can actually apply to the real world. And most of the time, we actually do a lot of case studies or examples or projects that has been happening in the real world. For example, one I really remember is the Starlink project from SpaceX. If you guys haven't heard from SpaceX, it's like Elon Musk founded it, and they have that space program to send out rockets in the sky. But they also have the Starlink program that basically is like satellites that are constantly circling Earth to provide internet for regions that don't have access to like cable internet. And so that was one of our case studies we did. We really deep down dived into that and discussed how it works, how it like turned out. And then it ended up like we had a guest speaker that actually works for that specific program and really told us about it hands-on, close on what it's like and what's the requirements for it. So that was a really cool experience. And I feel like all of the skills we learn by these hands-on opportunities really helps me to feel more confident heading into a professional career after studying. So it's not just like book smartness, as people say, it's also like really applicable stuff.
Yeah, so would you say that there's like a lot of like collaborative learning, it's a collaborative
Yes,
environment?
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's something that LMU prides itself on, is that collaborative learning environment, where the professors are there. There's a lot of real world learning experience that goes on as well, that things that transfer over to the workforce, that makes our education so worthwhile. One question that we have is, as an international student, how easy was it to, I guess, fit in or to transition to life in the US or in Los Angeles?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. And I feel like every international student that thinks about going abroad for their studies kind of like facing that same problem. And so my process was, I was like super excited to finally get here and finally get started, but then the closer you actually come to that date where you're like leaving home and say, oh, then it's really getting real. So you actually start worrying about, oh, I'm really far away. How will it be connecting to my family? How will it be on campus here? But I would say like the first day I got here and the first time I've been to like a lecture and anything, I had no problem connecting to people because everyone is really open, and also LMU in general has a lot of international students. So there's a lot of people in the same situation. They can really relate, and they also do a really good job, just like asking you, hey, do you want to see this place? Have you ever been to, for example, the Hollywood sign? And then there's going to be a weekend trip. So and from my experience, it wasn't an issue at all getting here. And of course, especially if you've never been to the United States, it could be a little bit overwhelming at first, but I mean, it's not like you've just been thrown in there and have to deal everything by yourself. So you can definitely work your way, and slowly you get super comfortable, and you can adapt pretty easily to the life here. That's from my experience.
Was there something that I guess you realized was different from what you expected, coming to Los Angeles?
I wouldn't say different. So first of all, a lot of the cliches we might have about American life actually were kind of true, especially right now. So we're heading into Halloween this weekend, this upcoming weekend, and they really take it seriously. So like every second front yard is decorated as a horror house. So it's quite funny to see as that. But generally speaking, I feel like LA is such an interesting and diverse place. So there's definitely something that interests you, whether it's art, it's beach, there's a lot of nature around, which makes it even more easy. I feel like still I haven't seen all of these places in LA just because it's so big and there's so much things to do. And by just being here, you kind of like discover for yourself what places you like better, what things you like better to do in your life. And there's so much opportunity, so you can literally do whatever you want, which makes it great.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree that we take our holidays pretty seriously. My whole, block is decked out with Halloween
That's for sure.
decor, and then come Christmas time, there's all the nice lights and stuff as well. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to come and pretty much have a smooth transition. Going on just more of the international stuff, like what kind of support is there for international students on campus?
There's actually a whole office called the Office for International Students and Scholars, I think, OISS. First of all, these are like the people that are kind of in charge of your visa documents. So whenever you have an issue with visa or the documents regarding your visa, that's the first address to contact. And they have a lot of good resources, especially in the case for like being first time in the US, even like simple things, how to open up a bank account, and they have drop-in hours if you want to ask questions. And in general, it's just a big community. Yeah.
Yeah, I think OIS is definitely a great resource that supports students for an undergrad level and the graduate level. They're the ones that really handle the I-20 and visa process. So if you guys have any questions regarding how that works, we have an amazing team at OISS that really supports our students that are up to date with all of the immigration laws and things that are going on for each specific country. And they're a really great support network.
Definitely. And also it might be good to add, not even for your time being here, but also beyond that. So if you want to extend your stay here, so there's some options that you can actually extend your visa to start working or to gain some industry experience, and OISS will still be the ones helping you out with that even once you graduate, which is like a great service. Just tomorrow there's a info session with an actual immigration attorney. So I don't know how it works, but I think they have like some sort of partnership, and they host a panel, kind of like the same situation as this, where people who are going to LMU, who are about to finish their degree, can just drop in and ask whatever question they want, which in other cases you might have to pay a huge fee, because I mean, lawyers are expensive, and it's just a nice extra service to have. And it feels really, I feel really taken good care of myself here in regards of like all the visa and document stuff, because I mean, obviously that's a critical point being an international student here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. My wife went through the same thing. She's not a U.S. citizen, and the graduate program that she was at didn't have those same resources. It would have been great had she known that. It's a really confusing process for many international students, but it's great that we have that kind of support postgraduate as well. Looks like we have one last question, and it's just asking about advice. Any advice that you would give for students that are, she's asking that she's applying, or thinking about applying, and what advice you would give her. Any words of wisdom?
Oh, so generally speaking, I would say, in terms of an LMU and like the resources of LMU, definitely make use of it. I mean, there's so many nice things LMU does for the students, like beyond just giving them education, whether it is clubs or like everything we spoke about, clubs, the career opportunities, and also a lot of health services as well, and the whole gym and the whole facilities that you are able to use as a student. So definitely make use of that. Sometimes I realize when I think about my undergraduate degree back home, how fortunate I am just being here and having access to all of these different things. And more generally speaking, LA is an awesome place. There's definitely so much opportunity in any directions, whether there's obviously the film industry, but there's also a lot of tech industry here, a lot of media marketing. So be active, try to like connect with a lot of people, and yeah, don't let yourself just focus on your studies. Also like kind of like look at the bigger picture, and then you have a wonderful time here, and you might as well enjoy it so much and you think about staying.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful advice and words of wisdom. Um, And I think that's all the questions that we've had for tonight. Thank you again for joining us and asking these great questions. If you do have further questions, I believe you guys have our contact information in the various emails that we've sent. So don't be shy. We get back to you. We'd love to speak more to you about our programs or any other questions that you might have. But thank you again for coming in. Thank you, Chris, for answering those questions as well. So yeah, so have a good night or a great rest of your day wherever you guys may be. Stay safe and thank you.